All right, let's dive into a really fascinating and honestly, a kind of unsettling idea that's been bubbling up. It's called the post-glitch timeline theory. And it all kicks off with a feeling that you might find, well, a little too familiar.
So let me just ask you this, straight up. Have you had that feeling lately? You know, the one where weeks just seem to melt into months and you blink and a whole year is just gone. If you've been feeling that, trust me, you are so not alone. According to this whole theory, it all comes back to a single point in time. Remember all that crazy hype around December 21st, 2012? Well, it wasn't the end of the world, obviously, but what if it was the beginning of a different one? The main idea here is that ever since that specific day, the world just hasn't felt quite right.
So let's really unpack this shared feeling. We're not talking about a few people having a weird day. We're talking about a massive, widespread sense that the actual rhythm of our lives, the very fabric of our reality, has somehow been altered. And you know what's really interesting? It's who is supposedly noticing these things. This isn't just a late-night internet conspiracy. The theory claims that experts, real professionals, are seeing weird stuff in their own fields. You've got physicists looking at strange statistical anomalies, psychologists talking about shifts in our collective consciousness, and even IT pros who are finding patterns and system errors that they just can't seem to explain. But the number one piece of evidence, the thing almost everyone seems to agree on, is this feeling that time has sped up. Seriously, think back to when you were younger. Didn't a summer feel like an eternity? Now it feels like we barely get through our Monday morning coffee before it's suddenly Friday afternoon.
And this is not a niche thing. We're talking about millions of people all over the world from totally different walks of life, all independently reporting this same exact sensation. It's like someone somewhere hit the fast forward button on reality itself.
Okay, but it gets weirder. It goes way beyond just a general feeling. Proponents of the theory point to these very specific moments they call glitches. Like little cracks are starting to appear in the code of our world. First, you've got the human-level glitches. We're talking about things like total strangers reporting the exact same, really specific dreams, or how so many people's sleep cycles are just completely out of whack. And then you have these massive waves of déjà vu, and of course the big one, collective memory errors, where millions of us are certain we remember something from history that apparently never actually happened.
Now, this is where the whole thing takes a really sharp turn. Because look, if it was all just about how we feel or what we remember, you could try to explain it away with psychology, right? But the theory argues that these glitches, they're not just in our heads. They're showing up in our computers too.
And here's the real puzzle. When you put them side by side, it's kind of spooky. On one side, you have our mental experiences, subjective, personal, and they seem totally random. But on the other side, you have hard data failures, actual system crashes, corrupted files. And the craziest part? The theory claims these tech failures aren't random at all. They often line up by date, hinting at some kind of pattern, a ghost in the machine. So what in the world connects the feeling of time speeding up with weird dreams and random computer crashes? Well, that question leads us right to the heart of the hypothesis itself, the post-glitch timeline. To put it as simply as possible, the theory goes like this. Back in 2012, our reality, our timeline, went through some kind of fundamental shift, or maybe an update. We're not in some brand new universe, but we are living in a subtly altered version of it. You could call it reality 2.0. I love this one analogy somebody used. It just makes so much sense. It's like an update running on top of an old version of reality. Think about it. When you install new software on an old phone, it mostly works, right? But you get these weird bugs, random lags, and little crashes. Those are the glitches we're talking about. And this theory isn't just some abstract thought experiment. People who believe in it say it actually provides a framework for understanding some very real, very modern problems. Things like that widespread feeling of alienation and loneliness, the sudden and drastic global changes we're seeing, the totally bizarre and unpredictable weather, and even the subtle but noticeable shifts in how people behave and interact with each other.
So, all of this leads to the biggest and maybe the most important question of all. If there's even a tiny bit of truth to this, what are we supposed to do about it? How do we even operate in this new, slightly buggy version of the world?
Now, let's be super clear. The theory isn't that the world ended in 2012. It's not a doomsday scenario. The idea is that the world as we knew it got a major software patch. We didn't die. The operating system of our reality was just fundamentally rewritten.
So, the way forward isn't about trying to go back or fighting the change, it's about adapting. And step one is really simple. Just acknowledge that things feel different, that your gut feeling isn't crazy. And step two, that's when you start paying closer attention, trying to figure out what the new rules of the game even are.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. If our reality really did get a software update, what do you think was in the patch notes? What bugs did they fix? What new features were added? And what new glitches are we all just discovering together?